While we talk about religious liberty, you cannot separate religious liberty from freedom of conscience. Both of these ideals go together. Roger Williams, whenever he created Rhode Island, he had understood that the Puritans were doing the same thing England did by trying to force people to practice Puritan Christianity. He actually stated that this is not Christianity at all, because Christianity is based on a whole different ideal. Roger Williams, he established this idea of what he called soul liberty. Soul liberty, S-O-U-L, liberty. It means freedom of conscience for all. He had two parts to this soul liberty. First was freedom of conscience as God's will, meaning that God is going to give every man opportunity to make his own choice from within his own heart. It defines freedom of conscience, freedom of belief or disbelief, according as part of God's plan. This freedom of each person to follow his own heart in matters of faith without interference or coercion by the state. Religious intolerance and war. He cited Europe's long history of wars and divisions. Williams pointed out that coercion in matters of faith inevitably leads to persecution and bloodshed. So when we talk about religious liberty in the United States, we need to understand that it is moving forward. Now, the colonies, most of the southern colonies that were royal colonies based by the king and the king's church, was reset up in the same way England was. They paid the preachers, and all of the people in that colony had to go to church and pay a fee to go to church in that colony. Other colonies followed suit. Some of them actually took a Protestant religion and made it the primary religion of their state. Roger Williams begins to promote this idea that freedom of conscience is in every man, and these two must be separated. You cannot do that. The state cannot be founding one specific organization. Yet, most of these organizations were Protestant and they were Christian in view. As time goes by, through the Great Awakening, all of these things begin to play out, and then we get all the way to 1776, which is the first Declaration of Rights before the Declaration of Independence was made in Virginia. And the greatest fights for a lot of religious liberty was in Virginia. If you do not understand freedom of religion, you need to understand the context, because it was out of what was done in the Virginia Declaration of Rights that caused the Declaration of Independence, and it established rights, individual rights and conscience. By this time, after the Great Awakening, after the preaching, after it went in their hearts, after a lot of denominational lines were broken through that Great Awakening, because thousands of people went in the street and heard the gospel, not based on denomination, but based on individual reception to it or of it. In fact, the Declaration of Independence, many of the words in the beginning are found in the Declaration of Rights of 1776 of Virginia. You can look that up. I'm going to have probably the PDF here with this clip. So you can get it, find it, you can download it and read it. But I want to flip over here to the 16th clause in the Declaration of Rights, and I want to explain that. Before we even get to the Constitution, this was rights that was already established. It was, and by the way, 5 other states adopted the Virginia Declaration of Rights until we get to the point of the Constitution with the majority of states understanding what these things meant. But Section 16 of the Virginia Declaration of Rights, 1776, before the Declaration of Independence, worked on by Thomas Jefferson and by George Mason in Virginia. Also, we have James Madison knew of this as well, and he was one of the great writers of the Constitution. Section 16, that religion or the duty which we owe to our Creator and the manner of discharging it can be directed only by reason and conviction, not by force or violence, and therefore all men are equally entitled to the free exercise of religion, according to the dictates of conscience, which is the mind, the will, the emotions, the heart of the individual, and that it is the mutual duty of all to practice Christian forbearance, that's tolerance, love, and charity towards each other. So in this freedom of religion, understanding the Christian context of it, the true Christian context of it, as pressed by Roger Williams, it is inside a man to hear truth or to reject it. This is where we're running in problems with our liberties in our nation as we speak. There is a secondary part to this understanding, which everybody understood at that time, that this other clause, that you cannot be forced to practice religion, and that religion is not to be by the sword or by force or by violence, because we understood that anything that still kills and destroys is not of God. My question is today is, what if the religion that is practiced is not practiced with an ideal of free choice, but rather by force? Because in our country and in our ideals and understandings from a Christian perspective, the religion must be for tolerance of others and their convictions, love, and charity towards one another. So if that religion is propagating violence or control or totalitarianism, see, Christians believe that the gospel is preached and heard, and the hearts of people are convicted by the hearing to turn them to God, to cause them to repent. Other certain religions, like Islam, apparently some government-controlled Buddhism, some Hinduism, and even now, whether you know it or not, a lot of the other groups are making us, literally using the government to push beliefs into our children and our homes to make us accept what they are doing as righteous. For instance, people have always had disparity of sin. But now, certain beliefs or speaking out for your beliefs is becoming hate speech, because the other group is having our government pass laws that are specified to them. Specified to them. So let's say, well, I'll give you a demonstration. Let's say we are out in public and my daughter is out there, and they start telling her that being married is not right and that she would be normal if she loved a same-sex partner. In belief. That's their belief. That's their opinion. No one's stopping them from doing that. If they want to go do that, it's their belief. But at the same time, my daughter should be able to hand them a tract. My daughter should be able to say, no, I believe marriage is the way God said. And if they get offended, that's because it's not their belief. This is part of the free speech clause. But now we're letting other humanistic ideas, other sexuality ideas come into our government, and our government is being reversed around to now demand something that goes against our beliefs. And I understand that people are free. They've always been free. You can buy your land. You can go down and make a homosexual club if you want. You can live with people in your private space, in your area. You can go out and you can tell them how good it is. You can promote your agenda. But when you start restricting, making your belief more powerful than what I believe, and you are not tolerating mine at all, and you're calling my speech hate speech, and yours is lovely, then now we have totalitarianism in a opposite direction. But concerning religion, the litmus test should be forbearance, love, and charity towards one another. And anybody propagating anything else, then their religion has to be restricted in some manner. Because we are not here to steal, kill, and destroy. But yet, you're allowed to have your opinion. So, on this little clip, I want you to go and look at the Virginia Declaration of Rights, a predecessor to our Bill of Rights, and I want you to look at that 16th clause because it is the foundation of what we're talking about and freedom of conscience. Everybody knows that some people are not wanting to turn to God. Some people are going to, I saw somebody else post, we're going to have a party in hell. Well, if you want to go there, your prerogative. God doesn't want you in heaven if you don't love it. So anyway, until next time, we're going to come back and we're going to talk more about religious liberty. But until that time, I would like you to go and look at the Virginia Declaration of Rights. We're going to talk about some more stuff when we come back.